But one thing that I really did want to touch on was these fundamentalist Mormons out in the Midwest that literally took over 2 cities, like to the point where there was no wall of separation. Like they bulldozed the wall of separation completely over. I mean, they were just like, well, fuck this wall, and they just went full steam ahead, and like there's no wall left. These 2 towns, let's see, in Utah and Arizona, Colorado City, Arizona, Hilldale, Utah, that both of these towns were completely overrun with this fundamentalist Mormon church. Now, this fundamentalist Mormon church was run even from prison by Warren Jeffs, who is in prison for basically raping underage girls through his congregation. And an interesting fun fact here is that within this particular fundamentalist Mormon church, they actually have cedars. If you can't get where this is going, basically you have a group of men in the community that are basically allowed to procreate with the women of the community. So you have this group of men that are the only ones that are allowed to impregnate women within the community, and they're labeled as cedars. Talk about the spoils of war, right? Anyways, the Department of Justice in Arizona and whatnot, they have concluded that they allowed the church to become intermingled with the state. Most notable things have been water pipe, laying new water pipe, connecting up new buildings and whatnot, or connecting up new people. Apparently, they had stopped issuing new water, no new water stations or whatnot were going to be connected to the city's water system, but yet at the same time, numerous new water connections were made to various building projects around the city that were church or ordained or related to the church in some way. So basically, they were giving preference to the church, they just. They had several people that were pretty much laying down that the state in which the church had merged with the state, and it's just scary to think of it. One guy actually left the church and had his property vandalized, and the cops completely ignored all of his complaints about it. They didn't handle a one. There was restitution paid to a Cook's family. They were awarded $5.2 million in 2014 after a civil suit, and it's only been recently that they've been investigated on a more statewide or federal level. And personally, I feel that this particular story is a pretty good example of what happens when you let the church bend the rules to the point where they break and the floodgates open and the church completely swamps the state. I think that this is a perfect example of what will happen when we let the wall of separation come down. I think that we need to take these examples to heart. I think that we need to really examine early warning signs of this happening. Honestly, I think that we need to go back through the history of both of these towns and see where these things started, what initial things, because it's never like a big thing. It is never something just like, oh, one day, boom, church and state are merged like they're one. That's not how it happens. It's always small things at first. And small things get to be bigger things. It's the snowball effect. Small things become bigger things, and bigger, and they eventually get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so at some point, though, that wall of separation completely breaks, and that's all I got.